first of all, we've had 2 solid practices yesterday and today. We had solid practices last week too. The big thing for us is carrying it over, to Saturday. Our guys are committed to that. They've had good energy. They've had good focus. We just need to carry it over to Saturday.
You mentioned the similarities between Cameron Artis-Payne and Trey Mason on the SEC Conference. What were the differences you were speaking about?
Every running back's different. Both of them have strengths. I think they're probably more similar than they are different.
Is Cap now? Is it what you guys saw when you were recruiting him? Is that he would be like he is now?
Yeah, I think so. We knew he was a tough guy. We knew he was a hard worker. He did some very good things last year. When he got in, and he had the spring. He is very good at all the little things. He's a very good pass protector. He's a good blocker when he's asked to block. He does a lot of things that don't come out on the stat sheet that really help us.
Gus, has Duke been able to practice?
No, he's not.
If he can't go, will Duke still travel?
We'll see.
You talk about the importance of turnovers in this game, Georgia being +13.
Yeah, it's very important. You look at the 2 games that we've lost. We fumbled the football in the first play, both games, and of course, obviously, the game before we fumbled the first 2 plays and got ourselves in a hole, and it was uphill the rest of the time. So turnovers are definitely going to be a factor in this game. We've got to do a good job of protecting the football and really getting off to a better start.
What about penalties? Another game with probably more than you'd like to have.
Yeah, there's no doubt. We got to do a better job of that. That starts with me. We got to be more disciplined. We got to be more accountable, and we're working hard to do that. I'll tell you that.
Can you still bring refs into practices at this point in the season, or?
You could if you wanted to.
You talked a lot last week about the long snapper. As far as going to be able to return this week.
It's possible. I'm not ready to say 100% for sure, but it is possible.
Gus, this week you're probably facing the best punt returner you've seen since Tyler Lockett. I know right after that game you said we've got a lot of improvements to make. Are you happy with what you've seen since then going into this week?
Yeah, I think so. We had a tough go of it against Kansas State. He's a great returner, and there's another, the one we're fixing to face is very good too. So, I think we've gotten better at covering. That's been the biggest factor. Punting has been more consistent. Not just with the height and the distance matching up, but with the location.
Yes, you put your finger on what's been wrong with kickoff returns. It hasn't had as many explosive plays for you guys.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and we definitely talked through that, and tried to spend more time in practice, not just this week, but last week, and we just got to do a better job. It takes 10 guys up front, being on the same page with the same timing and everything that goes with that, and so we've really taken a lot of time to evaluate that, and hopefully we can improve in that area.
There's been a lot of criticism of the defense, particularly this week, but over the past 4 weeks for miscommunication, tackles, etc. But up-tempo teams, production of yards, high-scoring teams, very few of them have correspondingly extremely successful defenses. Do you think it's really even possible to have an elite defense with an up-tempo offense? There are very few who are out there to do that.
Yeah, I do.
When you talk about having good practices, when you looked at last week, were you surprised with the way the team came out?
Yeah.
Judging it off that?
Yeah, there's no doubt. We had very good focus. We had very good, practices. And when you get off to start, and of course we gave up a cheap touchdown early. We fumbled the football the very first time we had it. They went down and scored. We got down 14-0. It was uphill. So, from a coach's standpoint with me, I've got to do a better job of preparing our team to get off to a better start because, the 2 losses are very similar, and that happened. So I've got to do a better job in that area.
Is there anything you try to do differently in practice this week, whether it's just a small thing to start a practice?
Well, I think as a coach, when you got an issue, it's my job to figure out a way to, you can't keep doing the exact same thing. So yeah, to answer your question, no doubt we try to do things a little bit different to get us off to a better start.
Is there any small example you can give us? I know you don't want to give us too much, but is there anything you can share on that?
Not really.
Is this a game where, with the potential to be a shootout there, if you do win the toss, you want the ball first? Is this a situation?
Every game's a little bit different. Strategically, sometimes the weather plays a factor in that. Sometimes your opponent plays a factor in that. bottom line is we got to get off to a better start offensively and defensively, whether we get the ball first or not.
Not to harp on last week, but why did you guys decide to defer to the second half against A&M?
It was just, like I said, it's just a decision that you feel as a coach. You try to be strategic. You do your homework and you try to give your team the best chance.
Do you have confidence in the defense against their freshman quarterback to maybe get a good start there?
What are you talking about?
When you decided to defer to put the
That
defense
may
on
have
the
something to do
field?
with it.
How pleased have you been with the way Ricardo Lewis's role has kind of developed?
Ricardo's he's got a unique skill set. I mean, he catches the ball well. He's a deep threat. He's gotten better at his intermediate routes, and he's like a running back when he has the ball. So I'm very pleased with Ricardo and his development.
You guys, on the block field goal, is there something that needed fixing, or was it just a play?
Yeah, anytime you have a block field goal, definitely there was a breakdown, and so they did a good job with their scheme, and the guy has long arms, all that stuff, but we faced guys with long arms before, so we got to do a better job. That was a huge play, in the game, especially the timing of it right there before half, and then it was 7 points the other way. It's a 10-point swing, so that was definitely a big play.
Any reason why the Batman formation hasn't been run at all this season?
Yeah, I mean, there's reasons. I mean, we still have it, and we may use it, but there's a reason we hadn't used it up to this point, at least since game 2.
How does, when you do get behind, like you have losses, multiple scores, how does it kind of change the game plan at that point? Do you kind of throw out what you already scripted, or what?
I mean, it depends on, of course, we were down by 18 points, and you try to, do what you feel like gives you the best chance, and if you got enough time on the clock, that changes things when you got to get in the throwing game. But last week we tried to be as patient as we could, do what we do what our plan was. Obviously, I guess the last series right there, we got in a little bit of more of a throwing mode, but you try your best to do what you think gives your team the best chance of being successful.
With so many players on your team from Georgia, have you seen any extra excitement, extra motivation this week in practice from those guys?
Yeah, I think so. I think we got close to 40 guys from the state of Georgia, and I mean, anytime you play your home state, I know it's special for those guys.
I know you said yesterday that, this being the second time around for Nick, it's kind of like been there, done that. But isn't, in a way, that's totally wrong, just because, last year you didn't play in Athens, you didn't have to go and face these things, you're obviously going to be on it. In a way, isn't that kind of...
Well, you're right, the fact that this is the first time he went back, but, the fact that he did face his former team, a lot of times there's more to it. There's more to it with the players that you played with, that you played against, more than the atmosphere. I mean, the atmosphere, when you play on the road is pretty rowdy in our league, no matter who you play.
All right, Coach. Thank you.